So what is up, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video, and this one is a very long awaited one. And after his performance last night in the playoffs, man, in the first game against the Miami Heat, I figured it was finally time to drop this. We're going to be doing a LeBron James, the King, the GOAT career resimulation. We're going to have him start out on the Cavs just like he did in real life and follow his career pretty much as it went just in the current NBA. And in year one here, he does end up snagging Rookie of the Year, Karl-Anthony Towns getting MVP. And we'll see just how much of an impact he has right off the rip here as he helps lead the Cleveland Cavaliers to the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, as we all know, the Cavs were absolutely trash last year, so a huge improvement with a rookie Bron. 19.1 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and 5.7 assists per game. Very, very good for the rookie, to say the very least, especially considering just how young he is coming out of high school. First round matchup here up against the Orlando Magic, and we rout them pretty easily. We rout our second round matchup in the Hawks and make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, where we're matching up against Jason Tatum and the Celtics, who are going to take it to a tough Game 7 here with us. And can the rookie help pull it out and move us to the NBA championship? And he does with a 32-point performance there, going absolutely berserk, helping us get to the championship here up against Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, which I think we have a real shot against. And we find ourselves up 3-0. We hop in with Simcast, and as you can see, we are absolutely flooding them, 127 to 108. And with that, this early in the sim, year one of Bron's career, he's gonna give the city of Cleveland a championship, putting the official championship counter up to 1. If he can do this in his first season, man, I am very interested to see just how many rings we get in this sim. Of course, we're gonna see who ends up getting Finals MVP and all of that. Dylan Brooks actually their leading scorer. Bron dropping 47 there in Game 4, getting himself a Finals MVP in year 1 of this sim. That is crazy. So in year 2, let's check out what the squad's looking like and if we've had any improvements as far as this roster goes. Because besides LeBron, it's a pretty raw roster in all honesty. A 91 overall already at only 19 years old for Bron. That is insane. Second highest overall being Drummond at an 86. And Colin Sexton, Kevin Porter Jr., and Darius Garland all starting to progress a little, but no real changes to the roster. And here in year 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo gets an MVP season there with the Spurs. And look at that, Bron actually ends up and getting a Most Improved Player of the Year in year 2 after being Finals MVP in year 1. Don't know how much more you can improve from that, but we finished the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference with 56 wins. Bron putting up 25.3 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 7.8 assists per game. Obviously getting it done on the highest level for us. First round matchup here up against the Hawks, man. And they're going to take it to a Game 7. It's getting gritty here, and we're going to hop into Simcast as always, just to see how this one plays out, if we can knock them out and make it out of the first round or not. And unfortunately, they do end up taking it by 4. You see, we had a pretty solid game and all, but Trae Young wasn't letting it happen, dropping 46 points in Game 7, man, to get them that dub. So we're going to be watching the finals from the sidelines. Of course, the Celtics with Jason Tatum up against the Luka Doncic-led Dallas Mavericks. And we'll see which one of these two teams ends up coming out on top. And it is the Celtics. Jason Tatum getting himself a Finals MVP. Moving us into year 3. Bron up to a 95 overall already. Kevin Porter Jr. really progressing really well off the bench for us as that 6-man position as well. A little bit of a surprise for me, in all honesty. You see Giannis getting another MVP here in year 3, and Cade Cunningham now in the league, getting himself a Rookie of the Year award. Got all tongue twisted, but we make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals here, this time up against the Boston Celtics, who did just win the championship last year, so keep that in mind. Not an easy matchup at all, but we end up actually dropping them out in 5. Bron dropping 35, 7, and 7 in a tough game there. Moving us to the finals here, up against the OKC Thunder, baby, and we find ourselves up 3-0. So, of course, we're going to try and peep Simcast and see what ends up happening here. And I actually did not hop in time, so you kind of see what happened. We did end up getting the chip, That's number 2 on the counter with Bron getting himself a Finals MVP. I definitely meant to hop in, but I don't know what happened. And now 96 overall Bron at 20 years old here in year 4, man. Just insane. Giannis Antetokounmpo gets his 3rd back-to-back-to-back season MVP. And we're back to the playoffs yet again. This time up against the 8th seed Philadelphia 76ers in the first round, who are obviously looking for the upset as they come out really hot on us, 2-0. But of course we're going to fight back. But look at that. We still end up getting dropped out in 6. 39-point performance there from Embiid. We just couldn't get it done. Honestly, I guess Drummond was just kind of getting bodied that series. Finals here, you got the Los Angeles Lakers, who added Michael Porter Jr. and RJ Barrett, up against the Sixers that are pretty much the same despite a few little changes. And this Lakers squad actually ends up getting the championship, and RJ Barrett leaves the Knicks and gets himself a championship and a Finals MVP. Talk about the Knicks curse. Moving us into year 4 here, LeBron James, 21 years old, 97 overall, baby, just going crazy. And honestly, we're not making a lot of moves in free agency, it looks like, because the team is staying very much the same, which is definitely interesting to me. But with Bron, you are a championship caliber team any year, so let's just hop into year 4 and honestly see how this goes. Giannis Antetokounmpo gets yet another MVP award, and I kind of skipped through some of the boring stuff here. We made it to the Eastern Conference Finals here, up against that Boston Celtics team yet again. But this time, they came out on a whole different type of energy, 4-0 sweeping us. Eric Randolph, this 89 overall center, just going crazy. So we're going to be watching the finals from the sidelines yet again. Lakers team that did just win the chip, and the Celtics team that won one a few years back. Lakers end up pulling it out and getting a back-to-back championship, with Cade actually getting himself Finals MVP there. Moving us into year 5. And in year 5 here, you see Giannis ends up getting another MVP award. Chet coming on the scene, getting a Rookie of the Year. And we find ourselves back in the playoffs here. First round, we have a matchup up against the New York Knicks coming in as that 5 seed. We kind of honestly had a little bit of a disappointing season coming in as the 4 seed. But it'd be a real shame here if we got upset by the Knicks in the first round. So we're going to have to play it real tough here. And in a tragic scene, we actually get knocked out in 6 by them in the first round. LeBron did his thing, but we just could not get it done, man. It happens sometimes. Boston Celtics here in the finals up against the OKC Thunder. Pretty good matchup between these two teams in all honesty. So we'll see if the Thunder end up getting another chip or if the Celtics do. And it's looking like the Celtics are going to take it. That center, Eric Randolph, going crazy, getting Finals MVP. Moving us into year 6 of the sim. I guess you could say the team a little bit different here. A few little minor adjustments. Giannis getting what feels like his 6th MVP season in a row with that Spurs squad. We come in as the number 4 seed yet again, and we get dropped off by the 5th seed at Miami Heat, despite a 36-point performance there from LeBron. Spurs with Giannis Antetokounmpo up against that Miami Heat team that just gave us so much trouble to face. So we're going to have to see how this one ends up playing out here. Back and forth series early on, and it's going to 7, and in 7, Giannis Antetokounmpo steps up and secures a trophy. Moving us into year 7, and at this point, this is when LeBron went to the Heat in real life in his career. So we had LeBron go there, of course, in free agency. LeBron, now 24 years old, is joining that Heat team that did just lose in the finals. So they obviously have some dogs, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and some decent other players as well. And to my surprise here, Denny Avila actually ends up getting an MVP season there with the Charlotte Hornets, which is nice to see. More or less a tough season for this Heat team somehow. Coming off being in the championship, only picking up 40 wins on the season with adding Bron. So definitely a weird sight to see. You see the Atlanta Hawks here in the championship up against, of course, Luka and the Mavs. So we're going to see who actually ends up taking this. Will it be Trey's Hornets or will it be Luka's Mavs? And it ends up being the Hawks pretty easily, with their big man actually getting Finals MVP. Moving us into year 8 of the sim. Year 2 here with Miami, of course. Bron really getting up there in overall, man. 99 overall for Bron now. He has an 86 Tyler Hero. He has a 87 Bam Adebayo, 88 point guard. Not a bad squad around him at all. And of course, the Heat team usually has a little bit of depth off their bench. So we're going to see how year 8 ends up turning out. Cade Cunningham in year 8 getting an MVP award with the Lakers, going crazy in his young career already, man. I know he's a Finals MVP as well. Do we make the playoffs? We do sneak in there as the 8th seed with only 39 wins. Not really what we wanted, but I'll take it. Playoffs are playoffs. Bron putting up 25 points per game here with some solid stats, honestly. So first round matchup, we're going to find ourselves up against the number 1 seeded Boston Celtics team, who we actually end up upsetting here with Bron going crazy. Moving us on to a second round matchup here up against the Toronto Raptors. And let's see if we can get another upset going, because that was a crazy one there in the first round. And it's not looking good for us as we find ourselves down 3-2-1. And we get bounced in 5, which definitely sucks. LeBron dropping 29 there, but we just could not get it done. Watching the finals from the sidelines yet again, Luka Doncic and the Mavs up against the Toronto Raptors. Pascal Siakam still hanging in there as the 6th man, actually, for that team. And the Raptors find themselves up 3-1 and end up taking it in 6, helping move us into year 9 of the sim. In year 9 here, we have LeBron still hanging around with the Miami Heat, of course, and a pretty solid team, so we're just going to kind of sim and just see what ends up happening. Troy Kabengele actually gets an MVP season there with the Rockets, and to my surprise, we go from an 8 seed to a 1 seed in 1 season. Obviously a crazy increase, so we'll take it. First round matchup, we take out the Hawks 4-2 pretty easily. Bron putting up 25, 5, and 8. Of course, a great stat line in that game. Moving us on to the second round matchup here up against the Amani Bates-led Bulls. And if you've watched these sims before, you know Amani Bates ends up being a problem. So not an easy series. We find ourselves up 3-2, and it's going to game 7. And unfortunately, we get bounced. Amani Bates dropping 23 there, Bron dropping 17, but it just was not enough. We couldn't get it done. Mavs versus the Nets in the finals here, and it looks like the Nets are going to take it pretty easily in 5 in year 9, getting Magnus Walgren an MVP. Moving us into year 10, 99 overall. Bron, I do believe this is technically his last season he will be playing with the Heat. And yes, sir, it is. This will be LeBron's last year with the Heat. So let's see if we can go out with a bang and get them a championship before he heads back to Cleveland. And whoa, he's setting the league on fire with an MVP season there, dropping 28 points per game, going crazy. But apparently that didn't equate to playoff spots because we came in as the 7th seed with 50 wins, which just means the East this year is something crazy. We got this matchup in the first round here up against the Pacers. And I really can't believe a 50-win team is the 7th seed in the East this year. But we get swept by this Pacers team 4-0, which is definitely not what I was expecting at all here, man. 29-4-11. That's tragic. Finals here, we got the Houston Rockets up against the Nets. Of course, the Nets did just win last year, so let's see what ends up happening this year. And they are actually going to repeat with fair amount of ease here. Going crazy. Moving us into year 11 of the sim. LeBron making his way back to Cleveland. And as we know in real life, this was his return. He wanted to get them a chip. So we'll see if we can get another chip here in the city of Cleveland, as he already has 2. And you see his son there getting MVP with the Houston Rockets. And very quickly, we make it all the way back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Although we do get bounced by the Toronto Raptors, it's a very promising first year here, in all honesty. To have came in and made such a deep playoff run in the first season while being the 8th seed. Let's keep that in mind. We were the 8th seed and upset 2 straight teams. Raptors versus the Thunder here in the finals. Definitely an interesting matchup to say the very least. And in Game 7, the Thunder end up squeezing out the dub. And we're moving into year 12, team very much the same. And with that momentum we had last year, let's see just what happens this playoffs, baby. Can LeBron get us a chip this year? We come in about the 6th seed, not too bad, I suppose. 49-33 on the season. Yet again, another really good East year. Bron dropping 33 to help us get that dub over the Sixers. And our second round matchup is going to be up against the Orlando Magic, who came in as the number 2 seed. So can we start pulling some upsets again, baby? We find ourselves up 1 game. Can we knock them out? It's going to 7. And in 7, we clutch up and do get it done. Surprisingly, the highest scorer in that game, Kevin Porter Jr., dropping a 26 bomb, moving us to the Eastern Conference Finals up against the Toronto Raptors. That did bounce us last year, and it's not looking great again. They bounced us out in 5 games again, man. Tragic, tragic, tragic. Sexton dropping a 29 piece. Memphis Grizzlies here in the finals up against the Toronto Raptors. And it's looking like the Grizzlies are going to take it with ease as they end up sweeping the Raptors team. That just bodied us pretty badly. Moving us into year 13. And in year 13, Bron gets to team up with no other than Bronny himself, who's actually coming off the bench as the 6th man right now, who's technically 27 years old right now. But that will be an interesting matchup, an interesting combo for these playoffs, and see if we can win a chip, honestly, with Bronny and him on the same team. We just versed Shaquille O'Neal there with the Pacers that we beat in 7. Making it to the Eastern Conference Finals here, we are the 1 seed up against the 2-seeded Washington Wizards here in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to come down to it, a very tough matchup. We're going to hop into Simcast in this Game 7 to see if we can pull it out right here and not even have to worry about it. And it's looking pretty good. We find ourselves up and taking the dub 130 to 116. Bron dropping 27. Getting us to the finals here up against the OKC Thunder. Ooh, it's not looking good for us, though. As you can see, we are down 3-0. We hop into Simcast for this game. It's looking real bad, but we come back. Oh, my goodness, it's coming down to it, and we get the dub by 2 points there. Kind of interested to see what that box score is looking like. Bron, very good game. Simcast again. I guess we'll just keep doing it until we see what happens if we get bounced. And it's looking good to get another game, bringing us back in this series. We're kind of alive. 3-2 here. Bronny dropping 28 there. And let's see what happens. Can we push this to 7? And apparently we can. Will the Thunder blow a 3-0 lead in this series? And it's looking that way. We hop into Game 7 here. And we're up 138 to 98 here. Make that 141 to 98. Wow, man. That's crazy. We end up waxing them by 40 points to get another championship for the city of Cleveland. We couldn't get any in Miami, but we come back from a 3-0 deficit in the finals to go ahead and grab the city of Cleveland their 3rd ring. And of course, Bronny teamed up with his dad, LeBron James Sr., and they go crazy here. What a series that was, man. Interested to see who actually ends up getting the Finals MVP here. Will it be Bronny, or will it be LeBron himself? Let's look at that box score. Colin Sexton, low-key sleeper, too. 11 for 15, dropping 28. Let's see who ends up getting it. LeBron James does end up securing another Finals MVP, moving us into year 14 of the sim. In year 14 here, they have Bronny slated as the starter, and this squad is looking very sharp in all honesty. And our center actually gets an MVP award here, Boyd Sharp, going crazy, helping us get to the Eastern Conference Finals here up against the Indiana Pacers, the number 1 seed. And we are going crazy, and we find ourselves up 3-1, and we end up taking it in 6. Thankfully, moving back to the NBA Finals this time. Yet again, I feel like we're up against the Thunder. We've been up against them a few times already. We're down 2-1. We sim a game. We tie it up, baby. And we go up 3-2. Hopping into Simcast for the final game of the series. 122 to 106. Dribbling the ball out. And there we go, baby. Another championship for the city of Cleveland. That's number 4 in Bron's career. Going absolutely berserk. Let's see just how many we can rack up for him in his career. Miami didn't really work out, but it seems like Cleveland's been working out just perfectly. Checking out the box score in this one, you see Bron drops 28 and Bronny drops 28. And to my surprise, both of them are not the Finals MVP. It's actually Boyd Sharp, our big man. But year 15 here, this is when Bron ends up actually going to the Lakers. So he's going to be teaming up with Cade Cunningham in the Los Angeles Lakers. So we'll see how this goes. Jalen Lewis getting an MVP there. Year 1, let's see how it turned out. Wow, definitely not what we were hoping for. 33-49 for the Lakers in year 1. I mean, I guess in year 1 in real life they had a tough time as well. So maybe that'll translate because year 2 here, it's looking like he has a good shot to win a chip. So Magic versus the Warriors here in the finals. Magic end up taking it, and Jalen Lewis goes ahead and gets himself a finals MVP, moving us into year 16. Cade Cunningham, of course, our point guard. But this team also is lacking some pretty decent spots. So it's going to take a lot of Cade Cunningham and Bron to kind of turn up to 110% to get it done. Jalen Lewis gets another MVP here, going crazy for the Magic. And do we make the playoffs? That's the real question here, boys. And it's not looking good. We only put up 33 wins again, man. Wow. Not what we were hoping for. A 98 overall Bron, putting up 25 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and 5.8 assists per game. But we just can't get it done, man. We're just going to have to watch from the sidelines this year and hopefully come back next year with some type of momentum. Year 17, here we go. Cade 86, Bron 98, and it's like, but beyond them two, there's a big drop off in overall. So we're going to have to see what we can work with here. And, of course, I'll show you what the rotations are looking like. That's what our starting 5 is looking like. Not 100% the best or necessarily what you want, but we're going to have to make do with it. So Rodney Leonard gets an MVP season here with the Warriors. And do we slip into the playoffs? We get 45 wins, so not bad at all. Bron, 22.7 points per game. Still hanging in there, having to be the top dog even though he's 35, still hanging in there, being the number 1 on the team. Our first round matchup is going to be up against the Warriors, who did have an MVP player this season, so we are coming in as the 7th seed. But we have pulled out some pretty decent upsets already in this sim, so let's see what we could do. We find ourselves down 2-1 in this, but that's nothing. So let's see what ends up happening here, baby. We find ourselves down 3-1. Ooh, it's not looking great for us, boys. And just like that, we get bounced in 5, man. The Lakers team needs to grab maybe one more piece for Bron here, and it would be a GG. Wow, their MVP dropped 50 points on us there in Game 5. Not what I like to see. Thunder versus the Pacers here in the finals, of course. And we're going to see what happens. The Pacers up 3-2, but the Thunder's coming back with a vengeance. Pacers don't let that happen. They do end up clutching up. Year 18 of the sim here, 96 overall Bron, 87 overall Cade Cunningham, trying to make some type of a run this year in the playoffs up against the number 7th seeded Trailblazers. Of course, we swapped from last year. We were the 7th seed, but now we're the 2 seed, so we'll take it. Getting a pretty easy dub in the first round, 6 games, 4-2. Moving us on to the second round here, up against the Dallas Mavericks. Not an easy matchup, as we all know, never is an easy matchup. So let's see how this one ends up turning out. We're going into a tough series, and we end up coming out in 6. Not bad at all. Moving us into the Western Conference Finals for the first time with this LA Lakers team, baby. Bron going berserko there, dropping 38 points up against the team that knocked us out last year, the Golden State Warriors, and their MVP candidate player. So let's see what ends up happening. It is going to be a tough series for us. But look at that. We come back with an absolute vengeance and knock them out in 5. You love to see it. Magic in the finals here. Jalen Lewis has been going crazy in this sim. Let's see if we can somehow shut that down. And it's not looking great. We're down 3-0 here in this playoff matchup here. And we're hopping into Simcast, and it's not looking great. As we get bounced in a clean sweep there in the finals, 4-0. Jalen Lewis racking up another finals MVP. Moving us into year 19 of Bron's career. We come out as the number 4 seed, so not too bad. But yet again, a tough first round matchup, because we're up against that 5th seeded Warriors team that did give us some trouble in the past. So we're going to see what happens. But we get up very early, very well on them, 3-0. They get a game back, and we ultimately ends up taking it in 5. Moving on to a second round matchup up against the OKC Thunder. So let's see if we can pull out this tough second round matchup up against the Thunder and move on to the Western Conference Finals yet again, and maybe even make it to the championship. We find ourselves up 3-1, and they have a lot of fight in them. It's going to Game 7 here, and let's just not blow a 3-1 lead. And would you look at that? The Lakers and LeBron blow a 3-1 lead to this Thunder team, which is absolutely tragic. Magic versus the Thunder here in the finals. Obviously, the Magic did just drop us off last year in the finals, so we'll see how this one plays out. It's going to a Game 7, but the Magic do end up clutching up. And Jalen Lewis getting yet another Finals MVP. Kid going crazy, moving us into year 20. We have fake Jokic on the team named Jukic. We make it back to the Western Conference Finals this year, though. Up against the 7th seeded Memphis Grizzlies team, who we're going to knock out with ease in 5. Moving us back to the NBA Championship, facing, yet again, Jalen Lewis and the Magic, and we do end up taking it. I didn't hop in, my bad. But we get the number 5 championship for LeBron in this sim. And the year is now 2041. Bron's still hanging in there at an 89 overall. 38 years old. Been going absolutely crazy. Just got himself his 5th NBA championship in year 20. So we're going to see how year 21 treats LeBron here. And player stats, you see he's still hanging in there as the number 2 highest scorer on the team. And we're up against the Rockets, who are the 8th seed here in the first round. And we end up taking them and the Trailblazers out with a lot of ease, honestly. Moving us back into the Western Conference Finals here up against the San Antonio Spurs, who seeming to be a tough matchup here in all honesty, as it's going to be going to a potential Game 7 if we can take this game right here. We hop into Simcast, and it's looking good for us as we end up taking that by about 26 points. So it's going to Game 7. Can we pull out a back-to-back chip here and get Bron his 6th ring of this sim is the real question. But it comes down to it, and they end up beating us by 1 point. As tragic as it could be, Bron dropping 26, but he does get ratted by his own son, Bronny there, dropping a 34 piece. I guess that's the way you kind of want to go out towards the end of your career, is by your own son. But the Nets do end up taking it, and of course you can imagine Bron does retire here after 21 seasons in the league, going crazy for the Lakers. And of course, if you guys made it this far throughout the video, as always, comment GOAT, G-O-A-T in all capitals, so I know you're a true Bean Squad supporter and I can show you some love down in the comments. As you can see, the player retirement jerseys, the Lakers retire his jersey, as well as the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, and he does make the Hall of Fame. And as always, I'll just kind of run through these and let the music play, and you guys can check out where he finished all time. Some fantastic rankings for these, of course. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, hit the like button. I'll talk to you guys later. Bean out.